Another Grand Slam tournament, another Jannik Sinner demolition job on a lower ranked opponent. He is remarkable at those. If I told you pick one player in tennis and give them the 120th or 150th or even 75th best player in the world ranking wise, and you could pick any player to destroy them as quickly and as brutally as possible, who are you picking? You're picking Jannik Sinner every single time. Every single time. Early in a Grand Slam, when the stakes aren't necessarily high, when there's a lot of pressure for you to not lose, but there's really nothing to gain if you win because you're expected to win. Jannik Sinner's the odds-on favorite to win Wimbledon. I still think it should be Carlos Alcaraz, but that's neither here nor there. But Jannik will dismantle any of these lower ranked guys like it's nothing. It's not like Carlos. It's not like Novak. It's especially not like Carlos, who may struggle with guys who's significantly better than. We saw him against Jumer, for instance, in the French Open last month. And we saw him against Fongini just a couple days ago. But Jannik will play at the same level no matter who is the opponent, and that's his thing. Alexander Vukic showed absolutely no chance. This match was over in 100 minutes. This is not supposed to happen in a 3-set match. For you to dismantle guys in 90 minutes, 100 minutes, it's not the first round, this is the second round against a guy who's a little bit better, who's been on tour for quite a while. This ain't supposed to happen. This is not normal. I understand Jannik Sinner gets a lot of hate for all the doping stuff. I'm not really going to go into that just because I think it's just going to get people on certain sides and whatever. And there's the whole Sinner-Alcaraz rivalry and how you have to like one and hate the other. Same thing happened with Federer and Nadal back in the day. But Jannik Sinner is so special. And he's so fun to watch just because of how tall he is, but just his ability to get as low as he does on ground strokes and on power shots, and his ability to, hit his backhand the way he does, and his ability to hit a 130 mile serve like that. All of that is just insanely impressive. And Jannik is so good at that. I mean, let's take a look at the stats against the match against Alexander Vukic. 12 aces, no double faults. His first serve percentage was 65%. Not amazing, but still there. He broke him 6 times. Only had 9 break points. Broke him 6 times. Remember, it was 6-1, 6-1, 6-3. An hour and 40 minutes. He honestly let the third set get a little bit long, but hey, he could have finished him a bit quicker. But Jannik is just relentless with the way that he destroys some of these smaller guys. And you ask yourself, maybe the strategy is different. Maybe a guy like Carlos, his strategy is let me go into a match and let me just try a few things. If I'm not playing against the likes of Sinner and Novak, let me try a few things. Let me try a few heavy shots from cross court. Let me try a few backhands that I would not normally try. Let me try a few drop shots that maybe wouldn't be my signature. And that's how you see some wild errors where you're like, how that happens. And that's how occasionally you'll also see some, oh my God, how did he make that shots in the early stages of Grand Slams against players who you're going to beat regardless. Jannik doesn't mess with any of that. Jannik is like, I am going to beat you and I'm going to dismantle you from early. Maybe his strategy is different. Let me spend as little time as I possibly can on the court so I'm as fresh as I can be for the final and for the semifinal and for all the more important matches later down the line. Now, that sounds great in theory, but what if you trying all those things early in tournaments are actually what wins you the tournament later on? What if that's exactly what you need in order to have the stuff necessary to hit some of the most amazing winners and some of the most amazing backhands and ground strokes that you could possibly think of later on in tournaments? What if you need to experiment a little bit? Who knows? I'll leave you guys to decide for that. But Jannik absolutely destroys Vukic. I keep saying his name wrong. Vukic. Yeah, there's not really much else to say. Jannik is just that guy. He'll play against Martinez. Who's that? Pedro Martinez? Yeah, Pedro Martinez in the third round, the Spaniard. That should be on Saturday. And yeah, Jannik will blitz him as well. Jannik isn't losing to a guy who's significantly better than him. Like I said, he's the most consistent player on tour. Carlos, I believe, is the best player on tour. When he's playing at his best, he's the best. But Jannik is the guy with the lowest likelihood of losing to a guy he's significantly better than. He will just, suffocate any guy who's significantly worse than him. For someone like Carlos, if he has an off day or if he's not fully focused, like we saw at the end of last year when he lost to Gael Monfils in Cincinnati, when he lost to Botic van der Zandschulp at the U.S. Open, like we see things like that happen a little bit more with Carlos. Jannik is just straight on. He's lost to Carlos a bunch of times, but it's Carlos. I mean, he's phenomenal. He's lost, to a couple other guys. When's the last time that, actually, to be honest, when's the last time that Jannik Sinner lost to someone not named Carlos Alcaraz? He did lose to Bublik in the at Halle, but it's Halle. I imagine he didn't care that much. But the last time, other than that Jannik lost to somebody that wasn't Carlos Alcaraz, he lost to Carlos in the China Open. He won the U.S. Open. He won Cincinnati. Probably it was Rublev in Canada, because he skipped the Olympics and he played in Canada. That was 11 months ago. The last time, other than Bublev, that he lost to somebody else, Bublik, sorry, that he lost to somebody else other than Carlos Alcaraz. I mean, Jannik, and that's the thing. We don't really care about these matches. We care about what are you going to do against Carlos. We've seen you beat Novak a bunch of times, but if he comes again, because Novak can always come again, even at 38, what are you going to do against Novak? A lot of guys have gotten eliminated in this Wimbledon. I mean, I've already forgotten their names, Obviously, Zverev, Medvedev, Tsitsipas. Taylor Fritz got eliminated, right, in that wild match. No, Taylor Fritz is still good. What am I saying? Taylor Fritz had that game that extended on, so he's still in as well. But what are you going to do against those guys? You're clearly better than them all. I'm not saying that you're worse than them by any means, but what you going to do? We need to see it. And I think we will see it, because you're that guy. And you're one of the most entertaining players of this new generation, regardless of what people think about you. So, yeah, let's see. Jannik Sinner suffocates another opponent. Not much else to expect from him at this stage. He is just demonstrative. And he and Alcaraz are ushering this new generation of tennis, and I love to see it because, I mean, if you do the math, from the 2022 U.S. Open till now, only Jannik, Carlos, and Novak have won Grand Slams. So how many Grand Slams is that? That's 23, 24. That's 11 Grand Slams. Carlos has won 5, Jannik's won 3, Novak won 3, all in 2023. So maybe we're ushering in this generation where the previous generation had a little bit of dominance early, but the younger generation is starting to catch on, and they're starting to win all the major tournaments, and they're the favorites to do it again. So Jannik, amazing stuff. And hey, hopefully this gets his groove back after the devastating way that Roland Garros ended, and he could just go back to staying as consistent as he is. He's the number 1 player in the world by a lot still, so it'd take a while for him to lose that, but we'll see the rest of the stuff that Jannik can put up, because he is breathtaking when he is on.